the result of the world's biggest and most prestigious aquascaping contest, the IAPLC, was just released a few days ago. And today, I'm going to go through with you my thought on the Top 27 tank. It's going to be a long video, so let's get started. Before we start, I have to make a disclaimer. The video today is purely my personal view. It does not represent IAPLC or any other party, because this is just purely my personal opinion on the top 27 tanks. I could be wrong. So if you have other opinion, please drop your ideas or comment in the comment section so we can discuss. Okay, let's get started. World ranking number 27. From my friend Luis Cardoso, Portugal, with a tank called River Echoes. I think this is maybe the first time. I think it is the first time that Luis got into top 27. Congratulations very much. And I think this is a tank that has very good flow. The arrangement of the wood and the rocks is really creating a very dynamic feeling, and combining that with the water movement on the surface, it really gives a very nice underwater feeling. And I also have to say that the two shadows, the two darker area on the two top corners, are really very effectively enhancing the overall feeling, because it shows, it guides our view to where Luis wants us to see, which is the focal point or the vanishing point there. So I think this is very nicely done. And the colors and the photo quality is always top notch coming from Luis. So I think combining all these factors, this is really a wonderful tank. And if I can make some changes to this wonderful layout, I would say maybe this plant at the bottom right corner, I think it's some aerial column or something. Personally, I feel that this plant maybe, let's say, do not contribute too much to the layout, and I feel that it is maybe a little bit big, so maybe some smaller plant will help. And maybe the moss on the left side here, personally I feel that it is a little bit too much. If you compare that with the moss on the right side, I think it reveals a lot more wood, and I think this gives a bit more natural feeling. And the shadow that it is on the right side here, I feel that it is quite nice compared to the left side where the moss is basically covering all the woods. I feel that if, let's say, we can reveal or to take away some of the moss and reveal more wood, it will be looking more balanced. This is just my personal opinion. Yeah, so if you do not think so, just let me know. We can discuss. So that is the tank from Luis, number 27. Now let's go to world ranking 26. From my friend again, Long Chuan Huang, with a tank called Connecting. Before we go into the some review, the first thing that I want you to take note is how big these rocks are. You know, the tank is like 150 centimeter, and these two rocks, I don't know how many rocks inside there, the rocks are really humongous. I really do not know how long put these rocks inside the tank. It is really a huge job. This is the first thing that amazed me very much. And Long, I know you are still very young, but please take care of your back, okay? Okay, let's go to this tank. I think first of all, the arrangement of the rock to me is very beautiful. It creates some kind of unstable feeling. I think this is really something that makes me feel that this tank is so special. I like this kind of dangerous, unstable feeling. You know, the rocks on the left hand side, it is slightly slanting, and the rocks on the left hand side is like hanging a little bit. So all this is creating that kind of dangerous, unstable feeling. I think this is really something very nicely done. And also the planting. I want you to really look carefully on the planting. The first plant that we hardly see in any contest is this Iguazu. Yeah, so I think I don't remember I see anybody use Iguazu before in an aquascaping contest, and I really very impressed that Long really go all out to find a plant that it is so special. I think he used it perfectly. Really, I love this concept. The second plant that is also not common is this caramine. Some I do not know the exact species. I think this is also not a plant that we see often, and I think he used it really masterfully. This is some kind of a creeping plant. You can see on the right side they are creeping on the ground, and on the left side they are creeping upward. So I think this is really a nice plant to use. I think after this, I feel that many people will start looking for this plant. And finally, I want you to look at this plant. This is actually Pogostemon helfrey. Sorry, I can't pronounce it. Pogostemon helfrey, or better known as Daunoy. Uh, this to me actually it is a very common plant, and I think a lot of beginner like to use this plant. But I think Long use it in a way that we have not seen before. He planted them on rocks. Amazing, right? I've never seen this plant planted on rock before, and in a contest that is so high level, I have to applaud Long for coming up with this kind of very creative planting idea. And if you see the roots that is hanging down from the Daunoy, it is giving a lot of natural feeling to the overall layout. So I think the planting is really fantastic to me in this tank. So I'm really impressed. I think also the rock composition, I think it's very classic, and to be honest, look very simple. Two big rocks and one small rocks at the end. So I think this is a very classic composition and very effective. But you need really good skill to really pull it off. I think Long really did a fantastic job on this. One thing I want you to pay attention is the depth of the tank, 90 centimeter. Wow. I hope that I can have a tank this big. I think the possibility is very limitless if you have a tank this big. Maybe my next tank I will also try 90 centimeter. This tank, to be honest, I do not have anything to change. This is just perfect as it is. Yeah, so congratulations, Long. This is one of my favorite in this contest. Let's go to world ranking number 25. Wow, this is an Iwagumi. I think this year Iwagumi is making a comeback. I think there are quite a few Iwagumi tank in the top 25, and all of them are really fantastic. I think this is simplicity at its best. You know, it is looking so simple, but you know, the simpler thing is always the hardest to execute. And I think that the creator Takahiro Ogawa from Japan is really doing a really fantastic job making such a simple tank looking elegant and sleek and beautiful. And he's using only hair grass. Of course, there are, I think, 2 or 3 types of different hair grass, but it is hair grass. And this is also staying very truthful to the Mr. Amano's Iwagumi concept that is only using one type of plant. I think this is really a very simple and very amazing, beautiful tank that when I see this, it puts a smile on my face. I love this kind of simplicity. Congratulations, fantastic tank. Next one, world ranking number 24 from Luis Jr. from Brazil, and with the tank title Between the Mountains. This is a very classic Brazilian tank from Brazilian. So I think this kind of tank, there is no reason not to like. It is so calm, so peaceful, so soothing. the flow is nice, the colors is nice. This is a very typical advantage or typical characteristic from the Brazilian tank, and I think Luis really executed very nicely. If there is, let's say, one thing I could do it different, I would probably say this rock. If you see the tank, all the rock arrangements are really perfect, very good flow and very nicely coordinated. But I feel that this rock maybe is a little bit, the direction maybe is a little bit off. It is like it is bended. So I personally feel that it might affect the flow a little bit. If we can put the rock slightly downward, meaning pointing downward to align the flow, personally I feel it could be better. So this is just my a small opinion. You know, a tank like this, it is actually already very perfect. I'm just trying to be very critical, because if I have to pick something to comment, I for a tank like this I can only pick those very small things because it is almost perfect. Yeah, so don't mind my suggestion. Let's go to tank number 23 from Mizuki Yasuda. I'm sorry, I cannot pronounce the title. I'm not good in Japanese. I feel personally, I feel that this style is becoming a very popular style among the Japanese skater. I think we have seen a few already in the last 1 or 2 years, and this year maybe there are already one or two also in the higher ranking with this style. So personally, I love it a lot. It has a very dynamic flow, and from the wood arrangement and also the usage of the plant, combination of these two, it creates a very nice flow. And for this tank, I have to really compliment the color scheme. The color, I think it is uh, very good, and I really like the creator that used the color that is not too saturated. You see the red is not too red, the green is not too green, so everything just blend in very well. And also I think he used very nicely the yellow plant and the orange plant and the red plant. I think all this is really creating a very harmonious color, and this point I like it a lot. Um, for this tank, I do not have anything that I want to do it differently, but I do have some curiosity, which is the usage of this stem plant this way. Personally, I think that you know, stem plant, they grow very fast. So in a few days, they are already growing quite tall. So in order to maintain this tank in this condition, I'm sure the creator need to put in a lot of hard work to constantly trimming the plants and to keep them in this condition. So this is the only point that I feel I'm curious. Yeah, so it must be a lot of hard work. Yeah, so other than that, I think this is really a very fantastic layout. Now let's go to world ranking number 22. My countryman from Malaysia, Lokman Aziz, with the tank title Rooted. I think, first of all, I think the title just really matched the concept very well. Once you see the title and you look at the tank, it somehow explains what he's trying to do. I think this is a very good point. But the thing that impressed me the most is actually this slanted horizon. Personally, I feel this slanted horizon is very important for this layout. Just imagine if this horizon is flat, I would say this layout will not be looking so good, because he created a slant horizon, and coupled with the fact that this overhanging, I don't know what, maybe a cliff, overhanging cliff, in combination with the slant horizon, this two is forming a very dynamic feeling. So it gives the overall layout some very dynamic feel. Yeah, so it is not looking boring. So I think this is a very good execution. I also have to give compliment to Lokman for creating these two frame at the left and right side. I think these two frame is very effectively creating something like a tunnel effect to guide our view to the center. So I think this is also very nicely done. And if there is one thing that I would like to do differently, I would say this one, something like a tree stump. I do not know whether Lokman, you are doing it on purpose, or this is, I don't know, an overlook. I feel that this is an interesting concept. Yeah, to have a flat cutting tree stump in a place that is looking quite obvious. I think this is interesting concept, but personally I may not want to do this. It is looking maybe a little bit too, I don't know, we don't like flat cutting surface, but anyway, it is interesting. So congratulations, Lukman, for getting into top 27. Now let's go to world ranking 21 from my good friend again, Pavel Kulanda, Great Britain, with the tank title Erosion. Uh, I have to say, rocks with flat surface and sharp edges is personally my weak point. I can never handle rocks with this kind of texture or surface. But I think Pavel has done a marvelous job putting all this very difficult to handle rocks. This is not easy to work with, but he has done a very good job putting them together and creating something so wonderful and so natural. I suggest you to go to Pavel's social media to check out his hardscape. I think by looking at his hardscape, you can really appreciate the skill from Pavel. I think he's really putting all the rocks together in the perfect way. So this is the first thing that really impressed me. Uh, and I think that he revealed just the right amount of rock. I mean, the between the ratio of plants and rocks, he just get it inch perfect. The amount of plants and amount of rocks, I feel that it is really, if you do it a little bit more plant, you'll be overgrown. And if you review more rocks, this layout will look very dry. So I think this is really the perfect ratio of the rocks and plant. I think this point is very important, and I think Pavel, you have done it perfectly. Um, if I can do something different, I would say this famous. Uh, I think this is maybe, I think it is grabbing attention, grabbing unnecessary attention. Yeah, when you look at this tank, this famous seems to be like telling you, hey, I'm here, I'm here. So I would say maybe take them out or maybe trim them slightly shorter. The right hand side to me is looking fine because the right hand side, the famous seems to be blending into the scape. But the left hand side, the famous seems to be standing out quite a bit. So this is the only thing that I would change. Very small thing, but as I say, I can only pick up very small thing like this in this kind of ranking level. So yeah, this is only one thing that I think I would do it differently. Congratulations again, Pavel. Let's go to ranking number 20 from Calvin So, Singapore, with a tank title called Field of Dreams. This is a tank that reminds me of Mr. Amano's classic Iwagumi. So it really gives a nostalgic feel. I mean, this is exactly the tank that we can imagine that it could be in the NF gallery. So very classic, very stylish, and very simple, but it is looking nice. Um, I think in the contest that it is full of a lot of complicated, sophisticated hardscape, a tank like this can be quite refreshing. Yeah, I think that is one of the reasons why Kelvin is doing very well. If I have to maybe do something different for this tank, I would say probably I will put some of this, I think is tanneless, some of this plant also on the left side. I think because this plant is a bit reddish, now we only have it on one side and the other side do not have this color. It somehow maybe look a little bit imbalanced. So I would put a little bit of this plant also on the left side to create some balance and also to make this tank look slightly more colorful. Yeah, so this is the only thing that I would change. Now let's go to tank world ranking number 19. You know who this tank belongs to? Luis Carlos Galarraga, or better known as Luca, who is the winner from 2024, with a tank name called Galaxy. I have to tell you, when Luca showed me this hardscape, we discussed our tank. So when Luca showed me this hardscape some months ago, the first thing that I asked Luca was, "Are you going to name the tank Galaxy?" And Luca said yes. So what does it mean? So I think this shows that Luca is really a master in visualizing something so abstract and put it into an aquascape and make people understand what he's trying to do. I think this is a very difficult thing to do, and I think Luca really has this skill and talent to visualize something that is abstract. Last year he created Great Wave. Wave. This year he's taking his creativity and his skill to another level. He created Galaxy. How I cannot even imagine how can people create Galaxy in an aquascape, but Luca did it. So I think this is really a skill that nobody can match. So I'm very impressed. I think overall this tank is really looking very, very nice. I would not want to change anything. No, sorry. I want to actually change something. Luca actually showed me a version that is with black background. I hope Luca will show this version in his social media somewhere, sometime. Personally, I like the version with the black background better. I feel that it has a closer feeling to Galaxy. And in that background, you can see the fish is actually looking like stars, and the water surface is more, if I remember correctly, more yellowish, more orange color, and it really gives that kind of outer space feeling. But somehow Luca decided to submit the version with white background. It is also looking fantastic, but if this is my tank, I will submit the one with black background. So again, congratulations, Luca, another masterpiece. Let's go to tank number 18, world ranking number 18, from Thao Tran, Vietnam, with the title called Stillness. Let's talk about the title. When I first looked at this tank and I saw the title, I have a very special feeling. The fish, this rainbow fish, we know they are swimming, they are schooling. And the plants, I think the fern, and also maybe I do not know the tall plant at the back. It could be some Vanisteria or Halfrey. We know these plants are wavy, but in this photo we can feel the stillness, like everything stands still, frozen. This is the first impression that this thing gave me, and I can feel it very deeply when I see this title and I saw this photo. It resonant, it relate to me very much. So this is the first point that I like very much. And this tank is looking very simple. The arrangement of the wood, and he only used a few types of plants. But I think even though it is looking so simple, but it is not empty. In contrary, this tank has this very rich feeling. It is like, I cannot imagine, I cannot explain, but it is like very rich, a lot of meaning behind the tank. It is just giving me this very special feeling. And I also feel that this tank, if we put this tank in one of Mr. Amano's book collection, it will not look out of place. This tank, I can imagine, is exactly something that Mr. Amano would do. This is something that I'm very impressed, and this is also one of my favorite tanks this year. There's one thing that personally, I would maybe do differently this Busep Frantra. I know exactly the reason to put this Busep Frantra because first of all, I think he wants a bit of colors. This tank without this could be looking very green, and I think the color of the Busep Frantra is actually matching quite well with the rainbow fish as well. But I kind of feel that this Busep is a little bit too big. Yeah, so in let's say as a in general with this big Busep, the overall layout look a bit small. So it is by comparison, relative. So I would really think that if this is my tank, I would use slightly smaller plants, maybe smaller species of Busep Frantra. I feel that it could look better. But this is a fantastic tank. Even with the Busep Franta there, I still think that this is one of my favorite. So congratulations again, Mr. Tran. Fantastic work. Now let's go to world ranking number 17 from Fan Zeming. This is another previous world champion, I think in 2023, with a tank title Wang Chun Feng. It means spring breeze. Spring breeze. I think this tank, this layout is oozing a strong underwater feeling. When I see this tank, it immediately gives me that kind of a very underwater feel, and this is why I like this tank a lot. I also want to, let's say, compliment the reflection technique on the left and right side. Sorry, left and right side. The reflection, this is a symmetrical reflection, and it is so beautifully done. You can't really notice that where is the tank edges. I think this is really the right way to do reflection, and it makes the tank like very panoramic, very long, very wide. I think a fantastic technique. So congratulations, Mr. Fan. Um, Also, I think I know Mr. Fan for a long time, and we always discuss. And I know that he is very particular in detail, same like me. And I think he's a person who really pay very big attention to even the smallest thing. I show you an example. Let's look at these two fissidens on the rock. Sorry, on the wood. I know that he do a dry start to attach the fissident on the rocks on the wood, sorry, without water. So after the fissident is rooted, he flood the tank, and in the next few months, he actually slowly take out some fissident to review the perfect amount of wood. I think this is really something not many people will do. Yeah, normally when you see our plant, fissident, moss, whatever, growing so nicely, we will not go and disturb them. But I think he did that. So he really go and take out some fissident every now and then to really create this kind of very natural feeling. I think this is really showing that he's really very good in creating all these small details, and he's very serious about the execution. Um, if there's one thing that I tend to do differently, I would say that this tank is maybe a little bit too green. Yeah, so and the green color is only one tone, one type of green. There is no bright green, dark green. You know, it is only one tone of green. So this could be something that I maybe want to change a little bit by either introducing some plant that has maybe yellowish color or slightly different shade of green, or maybe during the photo shooting some different kind of lighting, some different camera setting to make the green tone slightly different. So this is the only thing that I would do differently. But again, wonderful layout. Yeah, I love it. Let's go to tank number 16 from Yo Jun Woo, Republic of Korea, and the title is Stream. Again, this is another tank that the title explains it all. When I see this layout, without even looking at the title, I can imagine this is something in the stream. So this is really showing that the creator, Mr. Yo, really make a very good theme that help people understand what he's trying to do. And the underwater feeling is just so nice. It's just exactly like a fallen tree on the riverbed. And I would say that a tank like this is really very easily can let people understand what he's trying to do. So this is one good point about this tank. If there is one thing that I can do differently, I would say maybe is this part. The wood here seems to be a little bit too exposed compared to the rest of the layout, where you can see the woods are partly covered by moss and there are some shadow. This part of wood is very naked, so it somehow grabbing quite some attention. So I would maybe cover this wood with some moss, or maybe do something to make it with a bit of shadow. Yeah, so this is the only thing that I would do differently. Let's go to world ranking 15. Wow, this is another fantastic thing that I like very much in this contest, from Trinh Harley, Vietnam, with the tank title Silent Resilient. I have to say I really love this layout a lot. It has the natural feeling and the impact. I think these two, the natural feeling and the impact together, is really the recipe for success in aquascaping. And I think in this layout, Mr. Trinh has really done it perfectly. And I also like very much the colors. I think the colors is one of the best in this contest this year. He has the way he used the green plant and the red plant, and not to make them too overly saturated, the colors. I think it's just giving the whole tank a very natural feeling. So I really love this execution very much. And the two woods that it is extending to the two top corners, this is further giving us a lot of giving the viewers a lot of impact, and it somehow stretch the tank to the left and right side, making the tank look very big, very wide. And it also created a very nice perspective towards the endpoint. So this is also a very fantastic skill. I would not change anything on this tank. I think it looked perfect as it is. So congratulations. I think this is really a marvelous work. Let's go to world ranking number 14 by Liang Jianchong from China, with a title called Liu Dong. Liu Dong means flowing. Again, this is another tank that the title explains it all. When we see this aquascape, it really have the flowing feeling. Yeah, so I think this is one very successful execution. And actually, I know this creator. We discussed about the tank, and from all the discussion, I can feel that he is really very determined, very put in a lot of effort. So this is something that I'm very impressed. But what impresses me even more is the big, huge shadow that he created in the middle of the tank. I think this is something very bold to have such a big shadow in the middle. But I feel that Mr. Liang has really done a fantastic job creating something like that. I can imagine this tank without this shadow. Imagine if the center area, the shadow area, is brighter, no shadow. I think this tank would not look so good. So I'm really very impressed. And if you see, the shadow is not totally dark as well. There are some lighter shades inside the shadow to highlight the rocks and maybe some wood. I think this is also very important. I said many times, a good shadow is never pitch dark. You need to have some detail, a little bit of colors inside the shadow. And I think he is doing it fantastically. If there is one thing that I can do different, is maybe this flat horizon. I feel that maybe it is a little bit too flat, and it somehow affect the flow. I can imagine if, let's say, we can tilt the horizon slightly slanting downward, I feel that this tank could look better. So this is just my small comment. Now let's go to world ranking number 13 from Huang Anqi from China. The name of the tank is Su Ling, which means the tree spirit. Yeah, tree spirit. And from the name of the creator, I suspect, I do not know, the creator could be a female aquascaper, which is, to me, very welcome. I think this contest is having too many males aquascapers. It's getting boring now. So having some female aquascapers in the top 27, I think is a very refreshing situation. Yeah, so I would like to invite more female aquascaper to join IAPLC and get into the top 27 and kick out all the guys. Okay, the tank title again, Tree Spirit, is actually a very good title, because when I see this layout, it gives me a very ancient, even ghostly feeling. I don't know whether you can feel it, but it is not only a tree, but this tree is like giving a very mysterious, even scary feeling. So with a title called Tree Spirit, I think it is really matching very well. One more thing that I like very much about this layout is the contrast between the tree and the background. I think this point, the creator has really done it very nicely. We can feel that there is a space behind the tree, and after that only to the background. So there he created a space between these two, the background and the tree, and that is creating a very nice dimension, a very nice layer. And this layer is really making this tree looking very natural and very special. I think I very like this kind of execution. So yeah, and if there is one thing that maybe I can do different, is perhaps this few roots. Personally, I feel that they are a little bit too big. So when you have a big roots like this, it makes the main tree look small. Again, it is a relative. It is by comparison, if you have a big root, the tree itself will look small. So I would maybe use slightly thinner roots. It may show, or it may help to create the impact on the main tree. So this is the only thing that I would do differently on this layout. Let's go to tank number 12 from Chen Wei, China, Republic of China. The title is 狂野之巅. The direct translation would be wild pig. Sorry, P-E-A-K, pig, not P-I-G. Wild pig. I think this is a very natural forest layout. I think the forest atmosphere is being created very successfully. But what is even nicer is the layers. I think he created very nice layers. If I counted correctly, has 5 layers, and I think 5 layers is very good. Usually 4 is already good. If you go to 5, that is already another level. So this is one thing that I think this creator really do a fantastic job. And if there is one thing that I can do different, it would probably be this open area at the top right corner. I feel that this empty open area is not contributing a lot to the overall layout. Personally, for me, I would just fill them up with either plants or some hardscape. Yeah. Now let's go to world ranking number 11 from Guan Liwei, Republic of China. I have to apologize that I can't pronounce the third word in the title, but it somehow means that an empty valley with the flowing sound of river. So this is something what the title says. This is also one of my favorite this year. The one thing that I read a lot is this area, this yellow area. I think it has everything. This area, it has the impact, it has the depth, the details, and also to me this area, it basically defines the whole aquascape. When I first see this, and even today when I see it so many times already, this area is still the one that attract me a lot. So this is really a very fantastic execution on this side. But it also, by comparison, it also shows that on this side is relatively simple. So personally, I would feel that if we can create a bit of details, maybe with some plants, maybe with some more interesting arrangement of the hardscape, it could give the viewer more things to see. Now, currently, the left side is really world class. The right side is not too many things that we can discover. So this is maybe the only thing I would say. Maybe if I want to change something, it could probably be on the right side here. Yeah. Other than that, I think this tank is actually fantastic. One of my favorite this year. Okay. Now let's go to top 10. World ranking number 10 by Thomas. I'm sorry, I don't want to mispronounce your surname, so I just call you Thomas, from France, with a tank title Autumn's Embrace. Again, I think the name said it all. When we see this tank, it really gives us the autumn feeling. I think this is exactly what I feel, that this is exactly what Thomas wants to tell us. And I think it is very bold, very brave to use red plant. Personally, I think I do not usually recommend people use so much red plant, but in this case, I think Thomas really pulled it off. The red plants, it doesn't look awkward. It looks very natural. Why? Because I think the shade of the red plant is very not too red. Yeah, and combined with the green plant, if you see his green plant, the green plant is not too green. So you have a red plant that's not too red and a green plant that's not too green. When you combine them together, they look very harmonized. They look good. Also the wood that is exposed, I think it creates a very nice bridge to connect the green plant and the red plant. So with all this nice combination of color, the overall layout look very harmonized and very beautiful. Yeah, so I think this is one thing that Thomas really did very well. If there is one thing that I can do it differently, I would probably say it is the fish. There are, I don't know, 3 types of different shellfish in this layout. Personally, I feel it is a little bit too many. I would probably take out the black neon. I think the black neon is not doing too much, not contributing too much to the overall layout. So just the fish. The rest, I think, is marvelous, fantastic. Now let's go to world ranking number 9 from Tom Ryan, Great Britain, with the title Golden Hour. You know, I know Tom very well. We have been talking non-stop before the result announcement, and I know how nervous he is. But I have to tell you, Tom, you have no reason to feel nervous. This tank is really fantastic. I think, personally, I feel that you redefined how an Iwagumi should look like. This is a very new generation of Iwagumi. Yeah, and no surprise that this is the highest ranking Iwagumi in the 2025 IAPLC. So really fantastic. And I want to bring your attention to the plant that he used. He used some plant that it is not typically an Iwagumi plant. And this point alone, I think we have to give Tom a lot of credit and respect. You see the plant that look like lotus. I think it's called Nupa japonica. I don't know whether I pronounce it correctly. This is really an unusual plant to be used in Iwagumi. In fact, it is an unusual plant at all in aquascaping contest. We don't see many people use this, and I think this is a very brave choice and correct choice. I think this is really, with this plant, it creates some kind of a transition between the vivipara at the back and whatever that's in front. So without this plant, I feel that without this plant, you might have a sudden drop, a sudden gap between the vivipara and the plants in front. This plant, this lotus plant, really creating a very smooth transition. And in front of this Nupa japonica, I think he used some kobomba. Again, this is a brave choice. And I think the colors of this kobomba is really matching very well with the rocks. Again, it creates a very smooth transition from the rock color to the background. But what is impressing me the most is the bobitis. When did you ever see people use bobitis on an Iwagumi? Many years ago, I think there are some people try that, but I have not seen something like this for the last 10 years. So this again is a very creative, very courageous move to use bobitis on rock in an Iwagumi. So the planting alone, I think, Tom, you are very good. So you shouldn't worry so much before the result announcement. Apart from that, I think the rock arrangement is also fantastic. I mean, the rock texture, the shape, everything is perfect. And I want you to see the thin layer of algae on the rock. I do not know whether this is on purpose, but I think this is really fantastic. It gives a sense of the passage of time. It doesn't make the rock look very new. Yeah, so with this very thin layer of algae, it makes the overall layout look aging. It aged very well. So I really love this execution. As I say, I do not know whether this is intentional or what, but whatever it is a fantastic execution. Okay, for things that I would do it differently, to be honest, nothing. This tank is looking fantastic as it is. Well, maybe some people will say that there are too many autos on the bottom corner, but to me, it looks perfectly fine. They are cute, even though there are a lot, but they are cute. And I think with some autos or sometimes some Yamato stream or some SAE appearing in our final photo, it somehow shows that this photo is genuine. It is sincere. It is not too, wabi-sabi. Wabi-sabi. So nothing should be perfect. I think with some auto here, to me, I even will give extra point for the auto. So nothing I would change. Fantastic layout, one of my favorites. Let's go to the next tank. World ranking number 8. From Liang Jihang, Republic of China, with a tank title. Sorry, I can't pronounce this word, but it means Green Mountain Range. And I think this tank is special in a way that it created a very special visual effect, like we are looking from top down. I think the creator made this by two methods. One is, of course, the rock arrangement. I think he arranged the rock in such a way that it somehow gives this kind of from top looking down, that kind of effect. And I think the second thing that he did to create this effect is that the shooting angle is pretty high. From the top water reflection, we can tell that he is shooting at a pretty high angle. So that also again create this kind of very special visual effect. And I also have to compliment the usage or the mixture of the red plant and the green plant. I think the ratio is really very nice, and together with the amber tetra, the whole color is looking very soothing and very natural. And if there is one thing that I could do differently, it would probably be it at this corner. I feel that this corner somehow seems to be a bit unfinished, like work in progress. So maybe I would maybe plant more plants and or put some rocks to cover some of the empty area here, so to make this tank look more matured. So this is the only thing that I would do differently. Now let's go to top 7, the bronze prize. Number 7, from Lingqi, Republic of China, with the tank title Life After Life. Wow, I think this is again one of my favorite in the contest. I want to say something about the plant. I feel that the planting in this layout is one of the best in the contest this year. You see, he used the tone of different kind of tone, from dark green to light green to pale green to yellow to orange to red. I think all these colors, and he gel it together in a very harmonized layout. I feel that this is something very difficult to do, and only I feel only veteran aquascapers with very good experience can do something like this. And I know Mr. Lin is just a young man, so this really shows that he has really very talented. You know, the maturity in his planting skill is amazing. Let's put it this way. And I also like the woods. The woods is looking very wild, and it gives a very nice flowing effects, like in the underwater kind of effects. So in this case, the wood is not the main character. It is strange, but in this case, I feel that the plant is the main character, which is something we don't see often. But again, congratulations to Mr. Lin. I think this is a really fantastic layout. And honestly, I would not want to change anything. It is looking fantastic as it is. Okay, let's go to tank number 6. From Francesco Rampinelli, Italy, with a tank called Aurora. Personally, I think this is a very innovative triangle scape. It is not a typical conventional triangle scape, but somehow it feels like the composition is triangle. I know that maybe some of you will say that this tank is looking too simple, right? Yes, it is very simple, but as I said many times, the simpler it is, the more difficult to execute so perfectly. If you think this tank is too simple, I would challenge you, anybody, to create a simple tank like this and make it to top 7. If you can do that, send a photo to me. I will congratulate you heartily. So I don't care whether this tank is simple or difficult or complicated. Personally, I think this is such a beautiful, refreshing tank. I love it very much, and the colors is just so nice, you know, so wonderful. I mean, it doesn't try to do too much, yeah, but it is so effective. Also the rocks, I feel that the rock selection in this layout is on point. Substitute this rock with any other rocks, it will not look this nice. I think the texture, the shape, everything about this rock, the colors of this rocks, is just tailor-made for this aquascape. Yeah, so very well done. And if there is one thing that I can do differently, it would be maybe this rocks. I think this rock is maybe a little bit too straight. If you see all the other rocks, they are all slanting, either to this side or to this side. But this rocks, it is a bit straight, and I think it maybe affect the flow a little bit. If we can tilt the rock slightly to the left side, sorry, to the right side, I think it will look a lot more smooth, and then the flow will be better. So this is just a very small thing that I would do differently. But again, congratulations, Francesco. I think fantastic layout. World ranking number 5. From my countryman again, Mr. Yap Giap Fui, with the tank title Nebula. What is Nebula? Anybody know the meaning? Please tell me in the comment. Fantastic layout. I think this layout has all the ingredients to be successful. You know, it is natural, it has underwater feeling, it's impactful, the shadow is nice, the perspective is nice, the depth is nice. Everything that you need to do well in contest, it has it. Yeah, but I especially like this small wood that he put at that position. I think this is the main star of the layout. It really gives a very nice perspective and create a new dimension and the depth. I think this is really a very special and important wood for this layout. And then the reflection on both sides is also nicely done. This is not a symmetrical reflection, because the rocks that you see here, it is actually not showing in the photo. So this is not a symmetrical reflection, but it's very, very nicely done. It also creates a new kind of dimension. So it is like the tank look very big and wide. I like this idea. The fish and also the shadow, I think the fish position is really spot on. I would not imagine the fish in any other position other than this. So without the fish, I think the shadow could be a little bit too dark. But with the fish in there, I think everything is just perfect. And if I can do one thing different, I would say that this sand is maybe a little bit too clean. I would maybe put a little bit of plants, small plant like hair grass or some cuba, tannelus on the edges of the sand, or maybe even put some small pebbles, so just to make the sand look a bit more natural. Now currently I feel it is a little bit too clean, but again, congratulations, Yap, fantastic job. I'm proud that another countryman in the top 7. Let's go to number 4. Wow, this is a tank by Hidekazu Suzuki from Japan. Again, I cannot pronounce the Japanese title. You know, Jukizi-san is a mainstay in IAPLC for a long time. He produced many breathtaking tanks in the past, and I think this year he came back with a masterpiece. I think this tank has his signature. You know, before I look at the name, I already know it is from him. His signature is so obvious and so strong, so classic, so good. I simply love this tank. The rock arrangement together with the plants and the fish, I don't know what to say. Everything is just matching perfectly and forming a masterpiece. I can't really pick up a specific area that it is, let's say, standing out, but overall everything is just looking so perfect, and the underwater feeling is so good, so strong. I love this tank. When you look at tank like this, it just put a smile on your face. You know, I can look at this tank like for hours and hours, and I will not get bored of it. It is so good. Yeah, so good. And if they say I can change one thing, small thing, I would say this rock, personally, this is a very personal opinion. I would prefer this rock to maybe slant it down instead of pointing up. I feel that if, let's say, this rock is slightly slanting down, the overall flow will be better. But again, I said, I love this layout. Even with the rock this way, I still love this layout. It is just some different personal preference. So this is number 4 from Jukizi-san. Congratulations. I love it. Now let's go to top 3. Number 3, the silver prize from Kazuki Tanaka-san. We have seen Tanaka-san's work year after year. Amazing work year after year. And this year, he gave us another masterpiece. The title of the tank is Primal Burst. To be honest, when I see the title, I can feel the energy that this tank is giving me. It is very emotive, very explosive. So it really matched the title perfectly. I really love it. And Tanaka-san is the expert in using wood or rocks to create a very dynamic flow. And again, in this layout, his signature dynamic flow is apparent. I mean, so good. And this is another tank that used very red plants, very courageous, very bold, but it looked fantastic. I think if let's say anybody can pull out such a stunt using red plant, it would be Mr. Tanaka. And did you notice all this small white twig, small white wood? To be honest, I do not know what are they, what are they stands for, but I love it. Actually, the first thing that I saw when I saw this tank is all this small little twig at the back. This is one thing that attracted me, and I feel this is like a very nice touch, icing on the cake, even though I do not know what it means, but it just looked fantastic and so special. I really love this small details that Mr. Tanaka created. Again, wonderful layout. And if I can do one thing different, I would say I will let this tank age a little bit more, because currently it looks a little bit new. Yeah, if you see the moss on the wood and the wood itself, it kind of look a bit new. So I think if let's say we let the tank age maybe another 1 month to get some algae on the wood, to let the moss grow a little bit more natural, this tank will be fantastic. But again, very small things that I would change. I love this tank, fantastic work. Let's go to number 2, the gold prize from Zhaogang, Republic of China, and the title is Lingjing. Lingjing means a spiritual place. I have to be honest, I think this tank is worthy of Grand Champion. I really feel that. I tell you a secret, I saw this photo a few days before the result announcement, and I think that he will win Grand Champion, because I really love this tank very much. And Mr. Zhao, he is top prize winners many times. I think he was number 2 before, number 3 before, and this year he won number 2 again. So he is really not new, but somebody with very high level. And the first impression that this tank gave me is that it is so huge, so big. It doesn't look like a 120, and it doesn't look like with only 60 centimeter depth. It looks so huge, and I think this demonstrates his skill in making a tank look so big. This is really a very good skill. And I have to really say, the shadow. Wow, the shadow is just perfect. I think this is one of the best shadow in the game. I used to say Mr. Fukada is the master of shadow. I think this tank can give Fukada-san's tanks a run of his money. It's equally good. I think this shadow is really, my goodness, it's speechless. I really love this shadow. And the execution itself is really flawless. And I want to point out to you one small details that blow my mind. Have you noticed the moss, the execution of the moss here? He purposely revealed some of the wood, and at the place where he revealed the wood, the moss are a little bit yellowish. Not only this branch, you can see all the other places where the moss is being revealed and showing the wood the moss color is a little bit yellowish. I think this is a mind-blowing execution of details. I cannot imagine anybody would do something like this. I'm a person who like details very much, and I look at the tank very close up, and I try to find all the simple, amazing details that would amaze me. And when I discover these details, I tell myself, I really respect this creator, Mr. Zhao. And one more thing, if you see all these places where the moss are yellowish, these are the places that is bright. So it means these are the places where in nature you get sunlight. So when the place where you get sunlight, the moss is not growing so bushy. That is why the moss is reviewing, not covering the wood totally. And when at places where you get sunlight, the moss is yellowish. How can anybody think of this kind of details? Amazing. And you look at this. At the two corner where it is dark, the moss are green and it cover everything. Oh my goodness. I'm really speechless. This level of details is a masterclass, ladies and gentlemen. I'm really super impressed of how can anyone create this kind of details and the thought behind the creation. To me, it is mind-blowing, really mind-blowing. Congratulations, Mr. Zhao. I think this tank is really worthy of the Grand Champion from my heart. And if there is one thing that I can do different, is probably the fish. I feel that the presence of the fish is maybe a little bit lacking. But again, with a layout so beautiful, who cares about the fish? So this is one of my favorite layout in the contest, hands down. Congratulations. So now let's go to the grand prize, world ranking number 1, IAPLC 2025 by JoshSim from Malaysia with a tank called A River Somewhere. Personally, I feel that this tank can win the grand prize because of one reason. I feel that this is a totally new concept. You know, it is an underwater biotop nature aquarium. I don't think anybody has done this before. So it shows that the IAPLC really values originality and creativity. I think this is one reason that this tank is getting number 1. And I'm not going to explain more on this tank because if you want to know more about this tank, you can watch the this video here, the technical discussion, technical review on this tank. So congratulations, Mr. Josh, for winning the World Champion. Okay, that's all for the review, and now I would like to quickly go through with you some summary that I did, statistical summary, so that you can use it as a as a guide or a reference for your next projects. Tank size in the top 27, 120 centimeter is the majority. So actually, I'm a bit surprised. I would thought 150 could be more, but I think 120 seems to be a more popular size when in the top ranking. And 90 centimeter is 3, 150 is 4. So this could, I don't know whether you think that you want to concentrate on 120 to have higher chance in top 27. I don't know. And the material, I think 15 tanks are mainly wood, 10 tanks are mainly rock, and 2 tanks have a more or less equal portion of rocks and wood. What I can get from this information is that I think mixing rocks and wood like 50% is maybe not a wise choice. You have to choose your main material, either wood or rock, not mixing them in more or less equal proportion. the statistics show this way. Colors, this is referring to plant. I think it is understandable. Green tank with green plant is still more easy to be accepted. We have 18 tanks that I can say they are green based, and only 2 tanks that are red, and 7 tanks they have a good mixture of red and green. So green tank is still a safer choice from the data. And background, this is a no-brainer. 26 tank with bright or white background and 1 tank with black. And I'm actually surprised that we even have 1 tank with black background in the top 27. You know, I've done in the last few years, I've done 2 tanks with black background and none of them are in the top 27. So it really shows that tank with bright background is really having a clear advantage. And that is maybe why, Luca, you choose the tank with the white background. I'm sorry that I give you the wrong recommendation. Bright background is really having a clear edge in this case. And we see the types of tank. And this is not, if you sum up all the numbers, it doesn't give you 27 because some of the styles are overlapping. For example, you can have a forest and also diorama. So 1 tank can appear in a few categories. So it doesn't mean that you add up all, you get 27. From this analysis, I would say that the style distributions are quite even. You don't see a clear winner that, you know, if you do this tank, it give you a higher chance. No, I feel that 3, 4, 5, 6 tank of each gender is quite evenly distributed. So this tells us that you can do whatever you want. Whatever style that you want, you get an let's say equal chance to get into the top 27 as long as your tank is good. So don't worry about you have to do a certain style. You can do whatever you want. The data show you. So ladies and gentlemen, that is all the tank review. It is a very long video, 1 hour something. So I hope you enjoy it, and thank you for watching. Bye.